Some data coming out, however, in the last few minutes here in the UK. Jane Foley, Senior Foreign Exchange Strategist at Rabobank, joins me now. Good to speak to you, Jane. In the last few minutes, we've had an important survey out. That's the PMI Services Survey, showing that that particular sector looks like it's shrinking pretty sharply. And indeed, the authors are warning we could see a contraction now in Q4 GDP. Is the market concerned?
Well, it certainly should be, because, of course, the services sector is the biggest component of the UK economy. Well over 70 or so % of the economy is in the services sector, perhaps even more. Now, a couple of days ago, we had the manufacturing survey, and this was optimistic. This looked pretty good. But, of course, manufacturing is, 13 or so % of the economy, far smaller than services. So this is bad news. Now, what economists are saying about the UK this year is, well, certainly it's certainly going to remain below trend in terms of growth. Yes, we may see a little bit of growth, but for many people, many of the men in the street, I think this year is probably going to feel very much like last year, with austerity, of course, stepping up this year, and of course our exporters also feeling the pain of our main export partner, the Eurozone, being in recession.
Yeah, it's difficult to see the bright spots, isn't it, Jane? But we've also had a bit of data out in the last few minutes from the Bank of England showing that mortgage lending is up. Is that encouraging news, or is that something that's getting pushed aside at the moment?
It is encouraging, although that piece of news came in exactly as the market expected, so to some extent it will be pushed aside. But we've got to see it in the context of yesterday's lending survey from the Bank of England. Now, this was watched because, of course, you remember last year the Bank of England announced a funding for lending scheme, which was there to try and get the wheels of the economy going, to try and push funding into small business, into consumers, people who perhaps were finding it difficult to get hold of cheap money. And that lending survey did show that, yes, there's been more credit card borrowing, yes, there's been more money going into mortgages, and of course funding for lending has pushed mortgage rates lower. So some hope that the cheap credit that the Bank of England has been making available is finally getting through into the broader economy.
Fingers crossed that is actually the case and that it will last. Jane, good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.